Hi, friends. This is Steve at newcompasscrypto.com. Welcome to the first webinar of the new year, where I'm going to be discussing my Bitcoin predictions and what I think is going to be the outlook for crypto in general. We cannot discuss crypto without discussing the macro forces that are driving the wider economy, specifically the NASDAQ, which crypto has been tied very closely to for the last year, actually. Crypto has two major headwinds that the traditional market does not have right now. And that is the fallout from the FTX fiasco, which has caused a basic lack of fundamental trust, and also what the SEC is going to do over the coming year, even if the government remains divided and cannot pass any crypto regulation. The SEC can unilaterally enforce some of its own rules and go after some crypto exchanges, and that could depress prices. So those are the two things that we're going to be looking at. Regarding the macro forces in the economy, the elephant in the room is, when is the Federal Reserve going to stop tightening rates? Right now, Federal Reserve rates are between 4 and 4.5. I believe that the Fed is going to tighten 2 more times at least, and probably 50 basis points at each time, which would put the terminal rate at around 5.5%. And I think that that's where they're going to end up. A lot of analysts are expecting it to be just under 5, and some are expecting it to be a little bit above 5, which is kind of where I would come in at. But if that's the case, they're going to do that in the first 6 months of the year, maybe even with skipping some months in between. But that means that overall, that prices are going to remain depressed for the first 2 quarters of 2023. Both the NASDAQ, the Dow, and therefore crypto will probably remain suppressed for the first 6 months. I think on good days, Bitcoin can approach 20. And I think on bad days, and dependent upon any more specific bad news that comes out over this fiasco, and if however many more crypto companies end up declaring bankruptcy, or if there's any more bad actors, I think Bitcoin could get down to 15. So for the first 6 months, we're looking at a range between 15 and 20. For the last 6 months of the year, it will be interesting to see what the Federal Reserve does again. The Federal Reserve is going to be driving the entire economy this year. A lot of people are expecting the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates in the latter half of 2023. I am not. I believe that they're going to pause, and they're going to keep them there for the remainder of 2023. Therefore, I don't expect the NASDAQ to spike heavily, but I do expect it to increase by the end of the year. I think that we're going to end up with about a 15% overall increase in the NASDAQ from January 1 of 2023 to December 31st of 2023. And I believe that we'll see about a 30% jump overall in crypto, specifically in Bitcoin. And I believe that, therefore, we're going to have prices somewhere between 22 and 25,000 by the end of 2023. For the first half of the year, our strategy is going to be to buy and sell only Bitcoin and Ethereum. Getting in, right now we're looking at getting in somewhere around 16.2. We'll sell around 18.2. And then for the second half of the year, we'll probably get in at around 19.5 and sell around 22, 23, depending on what news comes out on any given day. I don't believe that Bitcoin has the institutional backing that it is going to need to get significantly above 25 for the rest of 2023. Previous massive runs by Bitcoin have been fueled, specifically the one from 2020, over the first 6 months of it, that saw Bitcoin go from about 17,000 to go to about 40,000. Really were fueled by institutional investment, not by retail investment, not by people like you and I. And institutional faith has been lost, and I think it's going to be a couple of years before it comes back. So I believe that there's not going to be enough volume out there for Bitcoin price to get to the $40,000 level this year. I also believe that we could go into a recession in the second half of 2023. And if that not necessarily in the US, but in other parts of the world, and other parts of the world are incredibly important to Bitcoin, specifically Africa and Asia. And if they see a slight pullback, that's going to be another headwind that we're going to have. That's why I think prices are going to stay in the ranges that I mentioned, somewhere between 20 and 25 for the latter half of 2023. I think 2024 is going to be a lot better for Bitcoin, depending on how this year shakes out. We need to get rid of all the bad actors. And then at some point, we're going to need sensible regulation. I don't believe that's going to come in the next 2 years, but it does need to happen so that people can start building trust again in the system. So that's my outlook for this year. Bitcoin between 15 and 20 for the first 6 months, and between 20 and 25 for the second 6 months. It may not seem like those are huge ranges, but overall, if Bitcoin does go down to 15 and then rallies again to 25, that's about a 66% volatility range from the very, very low to the very, very high. And that's about average for Bitcoin, the ebb and the flow in any given year. And hopefully in 2024, interest rates will come back down, money will get cheaper to borrow, and that will help a lot of the new projects that are going to need money, they're going to need capital, and will help Bitcoin price move forward. So thank you for joining us. Again, you can follow us and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and you can always see these videos at our website, newcompasscrypto.com. Thank you so much. Take good care. I hope you're all healthy and happy.